So yesterday we began to explore the idea that everything we do at Sravasti Abbey is an opportunity for training, and it's not accidental. It's deliberately set up that way. And so if we bring our mind to that training, then we understand that we can more deliberately do what we came here to do. So we'll continue with that theme today. When we come to the stand-up meeting, genuinely rejoice in some aspect of the previous day and share that joy with the rest of the community. That is training. When we listen to people's tasks for the day, listen for our teacher's instructions, receive our assignments, hear other people's good intentions and their objections, yet strive to keep an even mind. That is training. When we recite the offering service prayer, listening to the words and especially noting when working with others, differences in ideas and ways of doing things may arise. These are natural or in a source of creative exchange. Our minds don't need to make them into conflicts. This is training. When we begin to offer service for the day, setting a good motivation for what we're doing and remembering to check back with that motivation throughout the day, this is training. When someone asks for help or assigns us to do something we don't want to do, and we weigh their request with an equanimous mind, that is training. When someone criticizes our work and we remember to listen with an open mind, bow to that person and say, "Thank you." This is training. When someone criticizes our work and we are defensive, but afterwards regret our words, this is training. When someone criticizes our work and we are defensive and outright angry, and then afterwards realize the criticism was a result of our own past actions, that is training. When someone criticizes our work, we are defensive or outright angry, then afterwards we regret it and apply any antidote and apologize to that person whether their criticism was warranted or not. That is training. When in the course of offering service, we meet situations that engender frustrations, irritation, anger, boredom, jealousy, pride, and so on, and we both notice our afflictions arising and apply antidotes to counter them, that is training. When we try to solve a personal problem ourselves first before asking for help, this is training. And when we ask for help, whether it is with a task we are doing or a personal problem when we need it, this too is training. So this list shows up how important the opportunities for offering service are as a part of our training. That throughout the day, there are so many things that we do to benefit others, so many things that we do to make the monastery continue to run, and they all have to do with offering service. They all have to do with working together and creating a place or creating opportunities to be able to do the things that we've listed on the board as what the Abbey is intended to do. I found this in Venerable Master Wu Yin's Choosing Simplicity, where she must have come up with some similar questions. Many nuns say to me, "I came to the monastery to practice the Dharma. I didn't come to just work and serve." If you were in my position as the abbess, what would you say to them? What would you say?
You're right. Here's a broom.
You're right, here's a broom. Oh yeah, those are good.
This is practicing the Dharma.
This is practicing the Dharma. She says, in principle, a nun can only provide service to the community according to her ability and motivation. And since the community treasures the Dharma, if a bhikshuni is determined to focus on her practice, why shouldn't she be permitted to do so? She has a very practical answer. Sometimes everyone wants to focus on their Dharma practice and studies, and finding someone else to cook is difficult. The situation may be handled in two ways. One is for everyone to cook for herself and eat whenever she is hungry. The other is to take turns cooking and eat together. We offer service in order to do our practice. We offer service in order to create the environment where we can do the meditation. She also says really wisely here, we should recognize that our service to the community and to the public is part of our cultivation and our manifestation of Dharma practice. We must cultivate patience, compassion, skillful means when we work with people, just as we listed. We may study and meditate on these, but through interactions with others, we come to see if we have actually generated them. And I think it's fair to say that through the course of our time here, no matter whether your time has been short or long, we can begin to measure the effectiveness of our practice by how our mind is when we're offering service each day, by how our mind is when we are in relationship with each other, when we can catch ourselves in that list of when someone criticizes us and we're outright angry and defensive. And we all are. But sometimes, maybe the next time, a few years from now, someone criticizes us enough and we're just defensive, not outright angry. Maybe a few years from now, someone criticizes us enough and we can even say, thank you. If we even can get to an apology for reacting with anger, we've come a long way. And this is a measurement, really, of how the Dharma is affecting our mind. So right here, within our practicing of the Dharma, within our task throughout the day, our service is a huge part of our Dharma training. And it's the mind that we bring to that service that is the training. It's not that you need to learn how to sweep, although some people do. It's the mind that we bring to each of these tasks. That is the training. If we serve the community with a bodhicitta motivation and a happy heart, we enrich our minds with merit and thus create the causes to understand the Dharma better when we sit down to study, to gain realizations, and when we meditate. So this thing about merit I also think is very, very important. Although it's true that if we have the opportunity to be here, we've certainly generated a lot of merit to get here, and we talk about the rarity of that. But on the other hand, if we look at how the stories of the Buddha's time, when simply by meeting the Buddha, hearing a few words of Dharma, and someone instantly becomes a stream enterer, I will say I don't have that level of merit. I suspect most of us don't. How do you get it? By serving the Dharma. One many great ways. Lama Zopa says, is a wonderful quote that we've used many times here, but he says, the great Mongolian Lama, Zahi Pandita, said, among causal phenomena, the virtue of establishing monasteries is the greatest. There is no greater than that. So if we hold in our mind that we have an unusual opportunity here to create merit no greater than, the virtue of, no greater virtue than establishing monasteries, this is what we're doing here. So not only do we have the general good merit that comes from cultivating a good mind and practicing the Dharma with others and creating a place where people can come and practice and well and providing the Dharma for others and making offerings to the Buddha, making offerings to our teacher. We have opportunities to create merit all day long. And built into that, we also are building a monastery. We're building a monastery for the Sangha of the 10 Directions that will last 1,000 years, 10,000 years. And the merit of that is also enormous. And it gets built brick by brick, sweep by sweep, word by word, all the things that need to be done throughout the day. So again, when I bear in mind that I came here to train my mind, not to get my way, this is training. When we recognize that we can train in every moment of every day and we wish to take advantage of that opportunity, that is training. When we realize that training takes place in our own mind and that only we can do it for ourselves, we will grow in the Dharma. Of course, whether we train or not is completely up to us. When we recognize this, that is training.
I think often when we hear, oh, I'm going to train, then we are going somewhere for training. We revert back to our conditioning in school, and we expect to have a syllabus of you will train in this, and this is how you will train, and this is how you'll be evaluated, and you will train in this, and this is how, and the test is on such and such a day, and you submit your paper. And so we go back to these structures that we're very familiar with and expect that to be replicated in the monastery, and it's not. And so then we often feel a bit disoriented. Yeah. So this kind of thing of really looking at what does training mean is asking us to go deeper than a syllabus and a structure, and to really examine what does becoming a monastic and training our mind mean.